The deep web is like the outer space of the internet. There's the regular web, which you probably are watching this video on, and then the deep web, which is different and in some ways unknowable. Is the deep web a scary place, or is it misunderstood? We're going to look through the looking glass, people, wearing our best tinfoil hats to discover the surprising truth about this secret online world. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 facts about the deep web. 25. Big businesses use it. This is news to me. Apparently, it's not unusual for companies with sensitive information to use the deep web for file sharing. Financial businesses, for example. Synchronization and sharing software known as enterprises help them keep things on the down low. Maybe this sounds suspicious, but I guess the real question is, why wouldn't you go to the deep web? Its secrecy and highly encrypted nature can be problematic, but that doesn't mean it can't be useful to people with good intentions too. 24. Artists. Turns out the deep web is great for people wanting to express themselves artistically. Not that the regular web is anti-artist, of course. It's just sometimes an artist will be rejected by mainstream platforms because they didn't follow the rules and regs. Artists have no such issues with the deep web. Probably best to avoid it if you're sensitive about criticism, though. This place has trolls like everywhere else online. 23. Deep web energy. Because the deep web is kind of invisible, it's easy to overlook the vast amounts of energy needed to power the thing. This subject is mysterious by its very nature, so let's look at a visible example. Microsoft. Reports state that the company's recent consumption of electricity went from 11 terawatt hours to 24, equivalent to over 100 nations. So if the makers of Windows are using that much, what about the energy-intensive areas of the web we can't see? 22. Multilingual activity. The deep web is more open access than the regular, or surface internet, meaning that US tech companies don't call the shots. As a result, you won't see a domination of the English language here. Sure, you can flick back and forth between languages through translation software, but the deep web is a rough and ready journey around the world compared to the heavily organized package holiday of search engines and rankings. 21. Size of the deep web. How large is the deep web? Surprisingly, it's believed to be hundreds of times bigger than its visible counterpart. Considering the surface web seems mind-bogglingly vast, that's quite a stat. Why is it so much larger? Well, if the surface web is a gated community, then the deep web is the wild, wild west. It's unfiltered and untamed, making it trickier to navigate. It also makes it tough to work out what the true size is. 20. Academia. Strange as it may sound, the deep web is used by respectable institutions. You can actually access it through sites like LinkedIn. There's a strong connection between the deep web and education. Academic companies store information there, though it's an exclusive thing and you need to know about it. Most people aren't interested in scientific papers and journals anyway, so where's the harm? 19. Top secret. Just as various institutions place sensitive documents and such on the deep web, so the government stores private details it only wants certain people to see. If you work for the government, then accessing this is straightforward. What do authorities store on the deep web? Well, if I told you that, I'd probably have to kill you. But it's not as exciting as it sounds. Boring old census data is reportedly among the top secret material, so it isn't all intelligence reports and classified information. 18. Deep and dark. I need to clarify something at this point. Maybe when I say the deep web, you think of the dark web. Deep, dark. Is there a difference? There certainly is. You see, the dark web is a morally ambiguous section of the deep web, the wrong side of the tracks, so to speak. All the nasty stuff you ever heard of takes place there. In general, the deep web is occupied by various kinds of people who stay away from the dark stuff. That's not to say the deep web is 100% safe. I'm still talking about a vast chunk of the online world that's shrouded in mystery. 17. Not searchable. How do you find the deep web? Well, one thing's for sure, you can't just Google it. The whole point of this part of the web is that it's under the radar. You can access it through various legitimate websites, but authentication is required. It isn't really welcome to random anonymous users, which is actually kind of ironic given the shadowy reputation this private area of the internet has earned. 16. Medicine and health. While it isn't unheard of for people's medical information to be stolen online, the idea is to keep these details as secure as possible. That's why the deep web is so useful for medical institutions. Patient confidentiality is key, and the last thing these professionals need is a legal headache resulting from misplaced test results and such. Does the deep web make everything totally hack-proof? Unlikely. Is it reassuring knowing your health records are super safe? Definitely. And real quick, if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to give it a like, share, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really helps the algorithms, which in turn helps our channel grow and become even more awesomer. So, thank you guys so much. 15. How illicit is the deep web? The dark web is where all the criminals hang out. As for the rest of the deep web, well, there's probably some wrongdoing taking place somewhere. The line between right and wrong can be surprisingly blurry. Obviously, the majority of people don't want to break the law. Let's say you're a journalist, though, and you want to access sensitive info and protect your sources. The deep web, or indeed the dark web, can lead to some eye-opening stories appearing in the press. We wouldn't know about them if it wasn't for the deepest parts of the internet. 14. Overcoming oppression. Living in a country like China is bad news for social media users. The rapid way that information on these platforms is shared can worry some governments, so they enforce a ban. Social media and general access to the internet are threatened. People can avoid these tough laws by communicating on the deep web. This shows the sheer variety of content available. It's a place where you can see an obscure academic paper one minute and a planned revolution to overthrow society the next. 13. Deep web expansion. Just like the regular or surface internet, the deep web is growing fatter and fatter. The more we feed it, the bigger it gets. Comparing it to the surface web is useful here. Approximately 67% of humans on planet Earth are online in 2024, which has grown from around 63% the previous year. It's probably safe to assume that fewer people are accessing the deep web, though we can't say for sure. Whatever is happening, it's a section of the online world that can only grow larger. 12. Mysterious marketplaces. You can buy some surprisingly normal stuff on the deep web, such as sporting goods and books. It's a lot like the regular internet in that sense, and is probably good for those wanting to avoid the big beasts like Amazon. Unfortunately, the deep web also hosts questionable sellers. Specifically located in the dark web, you can find weapons, drugs, or worse. Stuff you will not find on Amazon, that's for sure. Criminality plus crypto leads buyers into pretty dangerous territory online. 11. Cracking the hackers. The natural place to find hackers in their natural habitat is on the deep or dark web. It isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. There's an image of hackers as law-breaking data snatchers, but not all of them behave like this. Did you know that some sections of the hacking community are trying to help people like you and me stay safe online? For their plans to work, they need privacy. So the secret side of the internet is where they do their sharing and spilling. 10. Libraries. Imagine walking into a library where virtually any book you want is available. And I'm not talking exclusively about high controversial or banned material. It's entirely possible you could find a rarer than rare text in there. Plus, a normal book to you could be illegal to read somewhere else in the world, and those people want access to it without repercussions. Knowledge is power, and the deep web facilitates this. According to the School of Information, the surface web makes up just 10% of the internet. Other sources estimated it much lower, at 4%. So there are probably a whole lot of books you're not seeing, or that you didn't learn about in school. 9. Numbers and the deep web. Let's break the use of the deep or dark web down into some stats. These are pretty eye-opening. For starters, the dark web appears to be overwhelmingly male. Over 84% in fact, at least according to anonymous surveys. Interestingly, large portions of dark web users are older. Over 23% are between 36 and 45, compared to around half of that for 18 to 25s. On a more calming note, it's believed that only around 7% of deep web users around the world are accessing the really nasty legal content. The dark web also reportedly makes up 0.01% of the overall deep web, so says the IT Professional's Guide to the Dark Web, so not good news, but those figures are surprisingly low. 8. Americans and the deep web. How many people do you think use the deep web on a regular basis? Say, daily. Back in 2019, a survey from the company Precise Security revealed that North America was kind of deep web central. In the United States, 26% of people here visit the deep web every day. 7. I am the deep web law. The illicit side of the deep web may be hidden, but that doesn't mean law enforcement agents aren't investigating it. A high-profile case of this was when an illegal marketplace called the Silk Road was exposed in 2013. How did the FBI find their way in? Reportedly through a reference to the site, followed by a job ad posted by one Ross William Ulbricht. He was running the Silk Road under the identity of Dread Pirate Roberts. He was handed a life sentence for his secret underworld activities. 6. The impact of AI. Until recently, the deep web was a huge and mysterious part of the internet that was difficult to explore unless you had specialist knowledge. Thanks to artificial intelligence, that isn't the case anymore. Because of its ability to process large amounts of information and identify objects of interest, AI is proving an ally to both good and bad people alike. Personal details that are supposed to be safe are grabbed from secure areas by automated scraping operations. 5. Whistleblowing. When you're a corporate whistleblower, you aren't likely to become welcome on the surface web. Blowing the whistle on powerful companies isn't the most advisable thing to do on the regular internet due to the fact that they have teams of expensive lawyers ready to take you down. So, what do? The deep web offers platforms that act as a safe space for whistleblowers. Take SecureDrop, an open source software program which is kind of like a dark Dropbox for people wanting to spill the beans to journalists. 4. Deep web documentation. Did you hear the story about printing the internet? This was a speculative thing where a Dutch web consultant worked out how many pages would be needed if someone wanted to physically print out everything on the surface web. His calculations came out at 305.5 billion pages. Now, let's look at what printing the deep web would involve. It's been estimated that this contains an eye-watering 550 billion documents. I'm not sure there's enough ink in the world to handle that project. Just don't run out of colored ink, your black ink won't print. 3. Whack jobs. It's a scenario you've probably seen a lot in movies and TV. Someone hires a hitman to bump off a rival or a problem person. So, where do you find a contract killer? Well, the dark corners of the deep web, of course. And I'm not going to go any further than that. After all, this is a YouTube facts video, not an assassination guide. But it's a sad fact that the deep web is connected to murderous criminal activity. 2. Wikileaks. Many people have heard of the deep web through the Wikileaks platform. Its founder, Julian Assange, spent many years either hidden away or incarcerated for accessing this information. People see these leaks as either dangerous or necessary. Either way, the deep web is a godsend to people seeking to expose corruption at the highest level. 1. The Tor system. How did the deep web come about in the first place? It's a 21st century phenomenon in that someone started working on it in the year 2000. It actually began as a student project at the University of Edinburgh. Ian Clarke's Freenet idea became part of the Tor project. Tor, or the Onion Router, is the network by which people access the deep web. The Onion connection comes from the many layers of encryption used by Tor. While Freenet was vital in the birth of the deep web, Tor had been in progress for years before, through US military and naval intelligence. It started as an establishment tool, but now millions use it. So now that we've done some snooping into the deep web, maybe you want to put on your detective hat. Dark Roads Detectives is a new channel we've created exploring some shocking true crime stories, so to check that out, go here or stay on list 25. Either one works. I'll see you on both.